YouTube chicks. Get ready. You know what to do, chicks.
Listen, Chick Smooth.
Hey, Chick Smooth. Appreciate all the coverage that you've been doing. I've been watching your shit for a while. I just subscribed to your shit too, bro.
Oh man, the apology better be as loud as the disrespect. Now, earlier this week, a lawsuit was filed on Jay-Z, alleging that he raped a 13-year-old girl with Diddy back in 2000. Now, once this news broke, I swear it opened up a portal of hell for all conspiracy theorists to basically come out and say, hey, finally, we got him. We were right, you guys. There's a lot of people out there that want to see famous people go down. Whether actor, rapper, if you're rich and famous, they think you did something strange and shady to get where you are. So obviously, when Diddy got locked up earlier this year for his sexual charges, everybody told you guys shit was weird up there. Now let's see who else was involved. They started looking at everybody that's close to Diddy, Kevin Hart, LeBron James, Jay-Z. Shit, even now that LeBron James is missing a couple games for personal reason, people are suggesting and also connecting him to whatever Diddy got going on. It's very odd. So you know people were foaming at the mouth when this lawsuit was brought onto Jay-Z. According to the 13-year-old girl, she went to a VMA's after party at Diddy's spot. Somebody gave her a drink. She found a room to go lay down. Then Jay-Z and Diddy comes inside, and that's where she's claiming the raping happened. Now, 10 minutes after the news broke, we saw Jay-Z fire back with a response, but this Jay-Z response was very interesting. He really did not speak too much about the details of the lawsuit. However, Jay-Z attacked the character of the lawyer, Tony Busby. He called out Tony for basically trying to blackmail him behind the scenes, and when Jay-Z refused, that's when Tony added his name to the lawsuit and went public with it. Obviously, you guys know what this lawsuit can do to somebody's reputation and also the people around that person. Jay-Z mentioned in his response that this is something he's now gonna have to address with his daughter. He said, my daughter's friends are at the age where they see stuff about me in the media. They get to asking my daughter, yo, what's this lawsuit with your dad? And then I gotta come in and have this uncomfortable conversation, all because Tony Busby wants money from me. Now, even after Jay-Z's response, a lot of people did not believe he was innocent. People said, hey, well, if we're believing all women, why are we making an exception for Jay-Z? Well, sometimes things are not always black and white. Yesterday, Jay-Z's rape accuser came to NBC News and she actually acknowledges inconsistencies in her allegations, which you guys know is a no-no in court. If you're going to accuse somebody of something like this, you gotta make sure you got your story straight. And very importantly, you also gotta make sure you're telling the truth and the incidents actually happened. Now, some of the mistakes she claimed she made was saying that her dad was actually the one that picked her up from the gas station. NBC News called up her dad and said, hey brother, do you remember picking her up from this gas station about 20 years ago? Her pop said, no, I have no recollection of that. Not only that, but the celebrities that she claimed she spoke with at the party, some of the celebrities are coming out and saying, brother, I was not there. I was on tour. And also, details about the actual location of the after party just doesn't seem to be true. She claimed the party happened at a mansion that was owned by Diddy. People got to researching and found out, yo, Diddy did not own a mansion at that time. He was actually living in a townhouse. Shout out to this TikToker, Black Girls Who Brunch. She actually broke down some of the inconsistencies from her statements. Here's what she said.
So I am an attorney. One of the areas of law that I have the most experience in is working with SA victims. So I worked on college campuses for the bulk of my career doing investigations into Title IX issues. This often involves SA, harassment, stalking, exploitation, domestic violence, all those different things. I was a neutral investigator for the university, and I had to investigate these cases using the legal standard preponderance of the evidence, which means that it's like 51% chance this is what happened. That is the standard for civil cases. So what we're gonna look at as I talk here is not that she lying, they made it up, it's a cash grab. We're gonna look at, based off what they put in these court documents in the interview we saw, can they prove by a preponderance of the evidence in court that this happened? Based on what I have seen, I'm going to say no. That does not make her a liar. That doesn't make this a cash grab. It doesn't make any of those things. My whole point here is that they cannot prove in court by a preponderance of the evidence that this happened. Now, In the interview, a couple things that stood out to me. So first off, we were very curious about where this girl lived at the time. So she currently lives in Alabama. At the time of this incident, she lived in Rochester, New York. Now, let's keep in mind, they're kind of dropping that off in this article like it's like Katy to Houston proper. That city is 5 hours from New York. 5 hours. So for this to work, I have to understand that somebody was, when she says that, oh, I had a friend give me a ride to the VMAs. Saying giving me a ride to me implies they're going down the street. Driving 5 hours? That's not giving you a ride. That's a road trip. And this person had to drive you 5 hours, which is a whole commitment. Are you paying for the gas, the snacks, and then drive back home? I'm struggling with that. I am. Other thing is, she's from upstate New York, Rochester. I think that's considered upstate. I know people from that area. It is very different than New York City. She's also, as I can tell from the pictures, they've darkened her, but I do not think this is a black woman. So I'm to believe someone from a smaller city. So she's not from like a LA, Chicago, Miami, because a 13-year-old from them kind of cities is going to be able to navigate spaces differently than a 13-year-old from a smaller mid-sized city like Rochester. I'm to believe that a 13-year-old from a smaller city was able to navigate New York like that. That just feels weird to me, and it's hard for me to imagine. I would need to have additional context about, well, how often did you go to New York? Have you gone by yourself before? Because I'm just having a hard time visualizing that. As I told you in my other video, this is just me. If I'm a juror, I'm gonna have a hard time visualizing how a white 13-year-old was able to move into this space and be, according to her, hold conversations with all these celebrities and not alarm anybody. That's odd to me. So according to her, she talked to the twins from Good Charlotte, Nicole Richie, or is it Cameron Diaz's husband, about his tattoos. This is I can't remember if it's Benji, which brother it is. And I talked to him about his tattoos, so he knows I was there. They reached out to Benji. Benji said, well, guess what? We weren't at the VMAs that year. We were on tour in the Midwest. And I believe that's something that there's probably really good documents of that, even though it's 20 years ago that you were on tour somewhere else and not at the VMAs. So there goes that part of her story. The other thing that I find to be interesting is the story is that she's assaulted. A woman celebrity witnesses the assault. They haven't said who that person is. She leaves and runs to a gas station. And I was I'm like, I need to understand how this works, because I grew up in the suburbs. Yes, you have gas stations, but they're not always super close. So how long did you run? I was curious about that. According to her, she calls her father to come get her. And now my question is, where was your father? Because if he's at home in Rochester, that is a 5-hour drive to come get you in the city. What did you do for 5 hours? Were you just hanging out in this gas station? Like, that's to me a big part of the story. So that part of the story is missing. And again, some of us could be missing because of trauma and time. Like I said, I'm not calling her a liar. I'm talking about what can you prove in court. That 5-hour time period I think is odd. Here's the bigger thing though. NBC calls her dad. Hey, do you remember the situation? He says, I don't remember ever picking her up from an incident like that. He's like, I feel like I remember that. I don't remember that. Not having her father be able to corroborate that story, to me, the story is done.
Now, Jay-Z put out a statement yesterday after the girl admitted some mistakes in her statement. He said, today's investigative report proves this attorney Busby filed a false complaint against me in pursuit of money and fame. This incident didn't happen, and yet he filed it in court and doubled down in the press. True justice is coming. We fight from victory, not for victory. This was over before it began. This 1-800 lawyer doesn't realize it yet, but soon. Now, Jay-Z's lawyer also spoke out as well. He said it is stunning that a lawyer would not only file such a serious complaint without proper vetting, but would make things worse by further peddling this false story in the press. We are asking the court to dismiss this frivolous case today and will take up the matter of additional discipline for Mr. Busby and all the lawyers that filed the complaint. Now, Jay-Z started to receive some support from some of his colleagues. Biggs posted the interview the woman had with NBC.
In addition to having autism, the woman says she suffered a head injury. The night of the 2000s VMAs, she says a friend drove her from Rochester, New York to Manhattan, a more than 5-hour drive. Her attorney provided NBC News with the name of the friend who has since died. The woman says she spoke to Combs's limo driver who offered her a ride to an after party.
I stumbled upon Diddy's driver, who told me that I was exactly what Diddy was looking for.
What did you think when he said that to you?
I thought it meant that I was just pretty.
She went to a White House, she says, where she spoke to musicians Benji Madden and his brother.
I'm talking to Benji Madden about his tattoo because, I have about his tattoo that's the Last Supper, because I have a religious background, so it was just something to talk about.
In a statement to NBC News, a representative of the Maddens confirmed that they did not attend the 2000 VMAs and that they were on tour in the Midwest at the time. At the after party, she says she had a drink that made her feel woozy. Then she says Combs and Carter took turns raping her while a female celebrity watched.
JC comes in and rapes me. He at that point I was fighting, trying to get away from him, and he put his hand over my mouth and told me to stop it, cut the
After the alleged rape, she says she ran to a gas station where she called her father, who picked her up and drove her home.
We rode home in silence. He didn't ask me what happened. He didn't ask me what I did or where I was.
In an interview with NBC News, her father said he could not verify the claims. Quote, "I felt like I would remember that, and I don't. I have a lot going on, but I mean, that's something that would definitely stick in my mind," he said. When we asked the woman about the contradictions in a phone interview on Friday, she said that she stands by her statement.
Biggs said about that interview, "Sad that an autistic woman lies like this, and lawyer didn't vet this at all. Then accuses Jay-Z of rape. Glad the truth is coming out." Memphis Bleek said niggas really tried the God. Hashtag Marcy don't raise those. Even 50 Cent had to come out and retract some of his jokes. 50 posted this picture saying not guilty. Then he wrote in the comments, "Man, the bitch lying. Her own daddy wouldn't support the story. Could've ruined the man's life. What the fuck? Busby gotta pay for this shit." Now you know you messed up when you got 50 actually defending Jay-Z. Now, this leaves Tony Busby in a very awkward spot. He spoke out yesterday after the mistake was made public. He said, "Yo, guys, look, Jane Doe's case was referred to our firm by another firm who actually vetted it prior to sending it to us." I hope you guys are watching what Tony's trying to do right there. Hey, listen, man, we didn't go seeking this out. Somebody gave it to us. And those people that gave it to us, they vetted her, not us. Now, Tony goes on to say, "Our client remains fiercely adamant that what she has stated is true to the best of her memory. We always do our best to vet each claim made, just as we did in this case. This has been extremely distressing for her, to the point she has experienced seizures and had to seek medical treatment due to stress." Well, what about the stress that you're putting on Jay-Z over these quote-unquote false claims? Interesting, Tony. Listen, man, you guys get in the comments below what do you guys think about these updates from the Jay-Z lawsuit allegations. And I want you guys to also keep in mind, Tony Busby is the same guy that has those 120 lawsuits on Diddy. So depending on how this Jay-Z lawsuit goes, those ones could possibly not matter anymore. You guys get in the comments below. Subscribe to my channel, like this video. I'll see you guys later, man.